So nice to meet you all, and so nice to see all the familiar faces. I'm the warm-up. I see you waving there. I see you. That's right. What? Waiting. Yeah. That's right. I am representing Outriders, the sister organization of Mixer. We are on the market for the last 5.5 years, but for the last it's working. For the last 18 months, more or less, we are also having this product that is called Outriders Podcast, and I will tell you a little bit more about this. And I will tell you a little bit who we are, what we are doing, and how do we engage our audience. The funny fact in the whole panel is that I'm from Poland. The next guys after me, guys that are representing my favorite podcast, are also from Poland, and Magda. So here we are, the Polish section. I don't know if it's embarrassing or it's funny thing. You will check this after this 40 minutes. It's working. When it comes to Outriders podcast and how do we do it, we launched the first episode just 3 days after the full-scale invasion in Ukraine, so it was the February 27th, and we had this really luck that people from our team were in Ukraine on the ground, so we could create more episodes from Ukraine, and the idea behind the podcast was to be on the spot. We really didn't want to do it in the studio because our competition does in the studio, so we wanted to search and we wanted to have fun with the sounds and also with interviews with the people. So that's the thing that we started on the first day, and that's the thing that we are also doing even today, or the last episode you can hear from Bulgaria that we are preparing. And each episode collects a bunch of people because we have a local reporter who may be from Burkina Faso or from, let's say, Thailand or Myanmar, or a different bunch of countries that you can just imagine. And we also have producer as me, host, who is Jakub, translator, bunch of people who are gathering around the case that are dedicated to international affairs. And thanks to this work, actually, we had some nice review in Poland and received, after just a few months of our work, some nomination of the most important awards in Poland. So we thought, and we are still thinking, that the work we are doing is quite important and for the people that are listening to us. But to go to dig in, basically, to the thing that I wanted to say is, how do we engage the audience? And when we are thinking about this, we have 3 ways, because we have already the audience that is listening to us, the audience that knows Outriders, that knows the work that we are doing, and that are living in our bubble, and we are keen on expanding the audience. So I will tell you a little bit more about this. How do we do it, and how do we deal with the audience? Because the competition over the last 2 or 3 years in podcasts has changed dramatically, I would say, because our biggest competition started when the pandemic began, and so it was quite easy to start. We started during war in Ukraine, so the first audience that we received was the people interested in what was going on in Ukraine and what was going on in Kiev and different cities. But then we decided to switch and do a little pivot and cover the stories from all around the world. So right now, when we have our audience, we try to be in this direct contact with them. We try to send them questions on our Instagram stories through our newsletters. We are also deliver some special content on our websites. Every now and then we are going, for example, to Ukraine, so we are sending some special videos, some special messages for them, some behind the scenes, even when we are crossing the streets or having some casual beers with someone in Ukraine. Our audience is really keen on whatever we are doing. When we are on the road, we know that this is quite important for them to get the full perspective that we are really not in the studio. And of course, we have such a fun of this beer meetings, of course, looking at Jakub right now. But we are also trying to get our audience who is not directly into podcasts through different tools and different products that we have in Outriders. For the last over 4 years, we also have something called Outriders magazine, and every Friday we are sending a newsletter for over 40,000 people in Poland, and they are receiving the magazine that is dedicated to all the things that are to the news that are around the world, and they are not in the Polish media. They are not covered. So we are also putting on every magazine information. There is a new podcast dedicated, for example, for corruption in Bulgaria or media situation in Myanmar. So you can dig in, you can check this. You can also find yourself in our podcast newsletter, so you can see and you can listen to the newest episode about that. And because YouTube is also so important in Polish market, we are also preparing a channel every Tuesday, and then there we are also publishing some materials about Eastern Europe or CE countries, where we are also connecting and combining our podcast as well. So this is the second way how we can engage people to our podcast. You may be our reader for the last 3 years. Really, you may not be a podcast listener, but then you have the way to do so. We also have our social media who are really developed for the last couple of months, so you can also grab our Instagram and get some information about what's going on in podcast as well. So what I would say to you guys, get all your tools, get all your products, and try to combine everything to get information to your people, how they can reach to you, because every place is important. And how do we expand the audience? We do it in different ways, to be honest. Because we are a quite small media outlet, we are trying to cooperate with big medias in Poland, such as Wirtualna Polska or Gazeta.pl, or different as well. And we are in this close relationships with them. They put our podcast into their own embed linked, I guess, and they are also producing some articles based on our podcast. So every now and then you can read the stories about things that we've been producing all around the world. We are trying to invite guests from other niches. For example, we are producing a podcast about sex in Ukraine, let's say, and we are getting some cooperations with people who are into this market. And we are doing also some cross promo. So we are trying everything we can just to get people into the topics that we are interested in. So combining the things you have already and combining with the tools you have gives you this result that you can get people to your podcast as well. Of course, the competition has changed over the last year, let's say, because in our niche there's like a lot of geopolitical podcasts, I'd say, but still we are working, are doing very hard, and I think we are waiting for our audience to come, because I really do believe that doing all the tools together will bring us the great results. And that's the last one. This is our really great covers. Take a look, because soon we will be changing this, I guess. This is it.